The night patrol was quiet until the police dog suddenly stopped, ears rigid, body tense. Without warning, the canine began barking frantically toward a dimly lit bus stop at the edge of the street. The officer, trained to trust his partner's instincts, followed immediately. Something was wrong, very wrong. As they approached, the dog pulled hard on the leash, whining and barking with unusual urgency. That's when the officer saw her, a pregnant woman slumped on the cold bench, her face pale, her breathing shallow. At first glance, she looked unconscious. The officer radioed for medical backup while kneeling beside her, trying to wake her. The dog refused to calm down, circling her and pawing at the ground as if pleading for help that had already been delayed. When paramedics arrived, the truth slowly emerged. The woman had gone into complications hours earlier. She had been alone, afraid, and unable to call for help. By the time anyone noticed her condition, critical time had already been lost. The police dog's instincts had been right. There was danger, but fate had moved faster. As the medics worked desperately, the officer stood frozen, realizing how close help had been, and yet how far away it came. The dog sat quietly now, eyes fixed on the woman, as if understanding the weight of the moment. Despite every effort, the outcome could not be changed. Later, as the scene cleared, the officer couldn't shake the thought. If the dog hadn't reacted, the truth might never have been discovered at all. The canine had done everything right. It had sensed distress, sounded the alarm, and led help straight to her, but sometimes even heroic instincts arrived just moments too late. The story spread quickly, not just as a tragedy, but as a powerful reminder of the silent battles people fight, and the incredible bond between humans and the animals trained to protect them. The patrol had been routine, the kind of quiet shift officers rarely question. Streetlights flickered, radios crackled softly, and the K9 walked calmly beside his handler until everything changed. Without warning, the dog stopped and let out a sharp, urgent bark, then another, pulling hard toward a narrow alley no one had paid attention to before. The officer hesitated for only a second. Years of training had taught him one thing: when his K9 partner reacted like this, it was never without reason. They moved quickly into the alley, the dog whining now, nose pressed low to the ground, body tense with urgency. At the far end, partially hidden in the shadows, they found her. A pregnant woman lay against a brick wall, barely conscious, her hands trembling as she tried to protect her stomach. The officer immediately called for medical assistance, his heart racing as he realized how serious the situation was. The dog refused to leave her side, pacing, barking softly, as if urging everyone to hurry. As paramedics arrived and began their assessment, the truth came out in fragments. She had been in pain for hours. Fear, exhaustion, and isolation had kept her from asking for help. By the time the K9 unit found her, her condition had already turned critical. The alley filled with tension and quiet. Desperation as medics worked against the clock. The officer stood nearby, feeling the heavy weight of helplessness, knowing that despite doing everything right, the outcome might already be decided. The dog finally sat down, eyes locked on the woman, unusually still. When the scene ended, it left behind more than silence. It left a reminder that some alarms, even when sounded in time, reveal truths too, painful to undo. The hero dog had done its job flawlessly, but what officers found that night would stay with them forever. The officer had walked this route countless times before. The neighborhood was quiet, almost eerily so, when his police dog suddenly stiffened. The leash went tight as the K9 lifted its head, sniffing the air, then let out a sharp, distressed bark that echoed down the empty street. This wasn't a routine reaction. The dog was alerting, urgently. Trusting his partner without hesitation, the officer followed as the dog pulled him toward a small park tucked between dark buildings. Near a bench, partially hidden by shadows, lay a pregnant woman curled on her side. She looked exhausted, her breathing shallow, her face drained of color. The officer rushed to her, calling for backup and medical assistance while checking for signs of consciousness. The dog circled her anxiously, whining and refusing to step back, sensing what the officer was only beginning to understand. The woman had been there for a long time. Her phone was dead. She had tried to wait out the pain, hoping it would pass. It hadn't. When paramedics arrived, the atmosphere shifted, from urgency to dread. Quiet exchanges and tense expressions told the story before words did. The reality was devastating. Critical time had been lost, and the situation could not be undone. The officer stood silently as the medics worked, his chest heavy with the knowledge that the alert had come just moments too late. The dog finally sat beside him, calm now, as if aware that nothing more could be done. Long after the lights faded and the street returned to silence, the moment lingered. The cop and his dog had done everything right. They had listened, reacted, and responded. Yet some discoveries leave scars, not because of failure, but because of how close hope came to changing everything.